welcome to another episode here for the Funky Pod, Mindful Media and Communication. And today we're taking a bit of a different angle than usual, maybe because today we're looking around if no one else can hear us. We're looking at why we are not good people. We're looking at failures, and we're looking at why we secretly love watching people fall apart. And if you now say, no, that's not me, wait a second, I will show you that it is you, and I will also show you the psychology behind Schadenfreude and how media feeds on it. So welcome to the wonderful world of admitting that we're not good people. Because, well, I said one more time, be honest, admit it. You kinda dig it when people fail. And let me set the stage, okay? You're scrolling through Instagram, X, and I said X, not Twitter, I think it's the first time. Hey, and then there it is, YouTube Shorts, TikTok even, a celebrity meltdown. An influencer caught faking their lifestyle. It had happened a lot these days, right? Or like a viral, I quit my job, or like on camera, but that moment just goes horribly wrong. And for a split second, for a tiny split second, you smile. You don't want to root for failure, of course not, but you do. I know you do. And so in this episode, we explore why we love watching people fail and how the media make sure we never stop, okay? Because I think that we've built an entire content economy around failures entertainment. Whether it's what I just mentioned, celebrity downfalls, influencer being exposed. I'm hesitating because, we know they're fake. But if influencers get exposed, cancel culture, public failure has become a currency. And guess what? You, me, we're all buying that currency. In the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a few key theories and show how the media will use those theories to keep us buying in. Those theories will be, and I will explain, Schadenfreude, that's how you pronounce it because it's a German word. Social comparison theory, we already talked about this. Cultivation theory, which you also should know already. Framing theory, also familiar. And moral disengagement, new. And parasocial relationships, talked about it already. Let's start. So, why we enjoy watching others fail. And that's where the German worded theory comes in, Schadenfreude. No? The theory is called, it was a very German way, by the way, Schadenfreude. No? That's a German thing that we do. We say something, we say, no? Sorry. So the Schadenfreude effect, okay? You know what Schadenfreude is. The pleasure derived from someone else's, let's say, misfortune. And it's not because we're evil people. It's a psychological thing. So Schadenfreude actually offers ego protection. It's like, hey, at least I'm not that bad. So we try to protect ourselves. That's normal. It's human. Okay? It's okay if you feel that. You don't have to deny it. Admit it. It also creates moral contrast. That failure makes me feel morally superior. Admit it. And it also reinforces group identity, especially when the fallen figure is rich, famous, controversial. You're like, look at them. They can also get it, not us poor, normal people. Okay? So, as an example, totally made up, when a celebrity is arrested for something, suddenly their glamour seems fake. And we feel justified in never liking them in the first place anyways. Right? So that's Schadenfreude at work, okay, with all those things that I said, ego protection, moral contrast, group identity. Okay, so Schadenfreude is normal, accepted, admit it, I know you feel it. And when we move on to the next one that we discussed in previous episodes, the social comparison theory, that basically means that we constantly evaluate our worth, our self-worth, by comparing ourselves to others. And in a world that we live in right now that's curated to perfection, other people's failure kind of comes as a relief. Like, at least they're not perfect, man, because I'm not perfect. Look, they're not perfect either, okay? Real world triggers might be that influencer who seemed too perfect caught lying. I know it. Or that colleague who always bragged, like, I do everything perfectly. Look at me, I'm awesome. They missed a deadline. Or that billionaire who fails because his car shares are down the drain. Instant meme content, there you go, right? So that's all Schadenfreude, okay? The dark truth of Schadenfreude and social comparison together. The dark truth is we don't just consume failure, we use it to regulate our self-worth. Yeah, when you just saw that I threw Schadenfreude back in because of course it's how we feel, but we feel it because when it comes to social comparison, we compare ourselves to others, and when that billionaire does something stupid and then the stocks tank, you're like, look how stupid that was. I'm not making such a mess, for example. Okay? So social comparison theory. So right now we had Schadenfreude and social comparison theory. Now, I mentioned earlier that the media really enjoys that, right? They are basically teaching us to look at failure of others. And they're milking it and milking it and milking it to max out as much profit as possible. And here we see a theory that we're very well familiar with, the framing theory. Because failure becomes a spectacle, okay? The media rarely shows the whole story of like what actually led to the failure, for example. Maybe it was the pandemic, maybe it was something else. Instead, the media chooses the most clickable frame, clickbait, right? That's why headlines or thumbnails say YouTuber exposed for lying to fans, or exposed in all caps, or fitness coaches scam diet revealed, or actor humiliated in all caps on talk show. If failure isn't just reported, it's dramatized, monetized, and memified. Memified. That's how you say it, right? Yeah. And the media loves it. Yeah. Why? Because negativity, just like sex, sells. We don't want to see, look, this person is doing well. Hey, cool. Just like we don't want to hear good news. That's why no news network out there brings you just good news. Bad news sell. Your panic sells. Drama sells. Negativity sells. And that's why we see failure all the time in the media. The media loves people to fail, especially celebrities, people that are well known, because they know that we will click on it, we will share it, we will like it, we will engage with it. Okay, outrage means clicks. Failure means engagement. Shame is the algorithmic gold, if you will. Okay? And that's why the media just can't stop showing us failure. And hand in hand with that goes another theory that we are very well aware of, the cultivation theory. The cultivation theory, as you know, means the more often we are shown something, the more we're getting used to it, the more we accept it. So this repeated exposure kind of leads to this, let's call it distorted reality. And when we're exposed to failure content, we start to believe that most influencers are fake, that most successful people are corrupt, and that everyone's about to get called out, if you will. So we cultivate the worldview where failure is always just around the corner. We kind of expect it to eventually, everybody's going to get caught. Diddy is getting caught. Next one, Taylor Swift is going to get caught at some point. Right? That's the mindset that we have, which is amazing for content cycles because you can just tease it and keep going, like, who's going to be next? Who's next on the Diddy list? This person went to that island, and so on, right? Great for content cycles. Terrible, terrible, terrible for empathy. And I mean, as people, how about actually leaning into empathy once in a while? But the media won't let us. I almost sound like Alex Jones now, right? The media turned the frogs, No, don't go over to InfoWars. Stay with me. You see what I said, right? Negativity sells. Cultivation theory leads to cultivate that mindset that we're waiting for negativity to happen. We're kind of expecting it. And so that's why it's easy to produce like media content that leads us to that. Great for content creation, terrible for empathy. Okay? And that leads me to the last theory that I teased in the beginning, which is the theory of parasocial relationships. We had this I think, 2 episodes before. We think we know celebrities and influencers, people in the spotlight, right? That's parasocial relationship. We think we know them because we follow them so much, so we know their nicknames, their hobbies, and so on, but they don't know us. So that's parasocial relationship, okay? So when the people that we think we know, when they fail, we take it kind of personally. That's why we feel entitled to comment, judge, celebrate their downfall, if you will. We spend so much time following them that we think we know them well enough to comment on their failures. But here's the paradox. If you didn't think that already, you might already have. The paradox is we build them up only to tear them down. And while doing that, we kind of feel righteous doing it. Isn't that weird? We build them up by following them, liking, sharing their stuff, buying their stuff, streaming their stuff. And then eventually we tear them down and we're like, yeah, they deserve it. Huh. Because in the end, that pedestal that we put the celebrities on is just a launch pad for their downfall. And eventually, what goes up, you know the saying, and it seems to be true with fame as well. So now that we understood why it's happening, the question is, why is this cultural failure a problem? And I mean, the answer would be obvious, like because empathy and sympathy is much better than hate. But there's more to it. Because I think that if you see failure everywhere in the media, it creates what I want to call fear of vulnerability. If you know that the internet thrives on failure, we stop taking any kinds of risks, creative risks, for example. If you know, okay, if I'm going to mess up now, people are going to celebrate me messing up. So I'm not going to try anything different, anything new, not going to try some new content, not going to put myself out there. Because I know that if someone sees it, they're going to be like, look at this loser, and celebrate it. And I think it also distorts our view of success. Because we kind of, in this case, associate success with hypocrisy and failure, like with authenticity. So doesn't that mean that people will be less authentic because they don't want to fail and hence be more hypocritical and just do whatever the mainstream wants them to do to just appease the mainstream and not be called out and not fail in the pursuit of whatever they would want to pursue. And I also think, and that might even be the worst part of it, I think it also dehumanizes real people. A public failure is painful, of course, but media is kind of turned into like some kind of popcorn entertainment. Like, hey, look at them failing, lean back, just, enjoy, share, like. Like, why would I like someone failing? And I think that's one of the most, at least for me, annoying things about that we are cheering when people are failing. And that leads, I think, to moral disengagement kicking in. We convince ourselves it's okay to mock someone because, hey, they signed up for it. They put themselves out there on social media, for example. So, hey, they asked for it. But did they actually ask for it? Maybe they just wanted to share and thought it's going to help someone or going to raise some awareness, and now we're mocking them. And that said, I don't think that we should not look at failure. I think that's just a way to consume failure in a more responsible way. And because, there are several reasons for it. A, we're definitely not going to stop watching people fail because it's everywhere and we're so accustomed to it now. And B, I think there's something we can learn from it. Okay? And so I think we can also learn to consume this kind of content in a more mindful way. So when there's someone shown who fails, maybe ask yourself, are you watching to learn or to feel better about yourself? Are you piling on judgment or trying to understand what went wrong? And are you engaging in a critical way? Or are you just scrolling for the drama because you want to, again, back to point one, feel better about yourself? I think it's totally fair and okay to cringe at bad behavior. It's okay to ask for accountability if someone really messes up. But if your day gets better every time someone else's day gets worse, then maybe it's time for a little bit of media detox and more mindful media and communication. So to wrap things up, I think that failure shouldn't be content, but it is. We're not changing that. And as long as we keep watching, the algorithm will keep feeding us. And so I didn't mean to guilt trip you during this episode. It's more about, and I can't believe I use this word because I usually hate it, but it's about awareness. It's about understanding why we see that content. And that I understand, and it's fair that we all indulge in Schadenfreude sometimes, but we can also be the generation, the ones that are listening, the ones that are consuming this right now, we can be the generation that finally learns to recognize when we are being manipulated. And then we actively choose better. That's basically all this podcast is about, right? Media literacy. So recognize when you're being manipulated and then choose the red pill or the blue pill. Okay, that was a very old reference. That said, I think that's enough about the Schadenfreude. I hope it did make sense, and I hope just sometimes you think about it when you see people failing again on social media. Let me know how you feel about it. Do you think, no, you're exaggerating, it's not a big deal, they signed up for it. As soon as you put something out there, you sign up for getting any kind of feedback or whatever comes your way. Let me know at FunkyPod on social media or in the comments on Spotify. Like, share, subscribe. It would be very cool. Leave a review. That is the best thing to do to help us get some more attention. Until then, stay safe, take care, don't enjoy too much Schadenfreude, and we talk soon. Sawadee Krap.